Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Right Guys podcast. We're asking the question, can America survive the next 10 days? And now your hosts, Josh Hammerling and Max McGuire.
And welcome back.
Oh my gosh.
That was weird.
My whole screen just froze.
Yeah, it's happened to me too. That's happened
And
to
I'm
me.
just like, oh no. So welcome to it, gang.
Welcome back to another Just the Right Guys podcast. My name is Max McGuire here with Mr. Producer Josh Hammerling. And good news, Josh has figured out his microphone. Can we tell him what happened? Is that okay?
No. That'll ruin my marriage.
Well, it turns out
I dropped the mic.
Someone dropped the mic on the ground, and that's why it's been like crazy
I'm checking levels
high
on
gain.
the stuff. I'm like, it all looks right, man. What the hell's going on? Then I'm playing with the mics. I found out a thing or two, swapped them, and man, digital mics, they're real touchy.
Yes.
But, our audio has been bad, but can America survive the next 10 days, Max? I'm watching videos of people in L.A. just going to the store, and it's an apocalypse.
Well, National Guard's in.
Yeah, finally, but, I mean, you can't get electricity. If you've got an electric car right now and you're trying to power your car, how do you think you're feeling?
I want to see if I can find it. Have you seen the, someone pulled the top 10 salaries for L.A. County? Have you seen that?
No, but I did, kind of. I saw the one that showed the 3 salaries of the people that are paid directly to be L.A. County fire, whatever, and one made like $434,000
Well,
a year.
it's more than that. So,
really?
Who do you think is the highest paid employee in the city of Los Angeles? What job do you think he has?
Head of like streets departments, like traffic, that kind of thing, maybe.
Load dispatcher for the Department of Water and Power. So the highest he makes after overtime and bonuses, $857,000 a year.
How do I get that job?
I'm gonna put it on my screen right now. Share.
Like, what are the qualifications on that? What was that?
That was me hitting the spring, holding up my mics. Bling.
I thought it was the end of the world. Wow.
No. So the second highest is the fire captain, $800,000 a year after overtime and bonuses. Josh, 8 of the top 10 highest paid employees in LA work for the Department of Water and Power. Now, some of them deal with electrical repair, and that's not the problem going on right now. But when you take the top 10 highest paid employees in LA, and 8 of them work for the Department of Water and Power, and one of them's the fire captain. Listen, I'm sure many of these people are working real hard.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. It's incredible that you have all of this money going towards the department that just failed.
Yeah.
Completely and utterly failed.
So, like, their salary versus their overtime total must be 2 different things. Because on paper, they only make X. But, man, when you throw on $200,000 of $600,000 of overtime
and bonuses.
Oh my gosh! Like, I've never had a job that almost would more than double the salary in overtime and bonuses.
Yeah.
Like, what? How do you get a job like that?
You look at the fire captain, John Getchius. He looks like he's like a bargain because he's only getting $10,000 in bonuses.
Yeah.
But then you look, he's $600,000 in overtime.
That's who wouldn't want a salary at the low, like Brad Weller on the list? Who wouldn't want his salary? Just his base salary, right?
Yeah.
It's a good salary. $220,000 is a lot of money.
So we were asking the question of how is it possible that there was no water in the fire hydrants?
Yeah.
The Pacific's Palisades Reservoir was offline at the time of the fire and empty, deliberately emptied, Josh, for repairs. It would have held 117 million gallons of water. And it was offline for largely cosmetic purposes. There's a cover that goes on top of it, and the cover needed repair.
What the hell, man? Like, this is the lifeblood of the city, of the counties, of everywhere, man. And it was offline for cosmetic reasons. What do you mean by cosmetic reasons? They didn't like the way the cover looked?
Like they had a cover and it needed to get fixed. Like, it needs to get fixed. You can't have, like, animals and other things get into it. But
Insane.
largely cosmetic. Largely cosmetic.
So is that why when they were hooking up to the old fire hydrants there, out was what came out was dust and doom?
Yeah. Nothing came out because specifically of where this reservoir is. This reservoir is in a higher elevation. So at, like, sea level, those fire hydrants worked because the reservoirs that were still operational were above them. Yeah. Like, if anyone knows, or even if people don't know how water towers work, if you ever go into New York City, you'll see that most of these buildings have little water towers on top of them. Mm-hmm. That's because it's a lot easier to pump the water into the water tower and then have gravity feed it into everything below. So if you want fire hydrants to work, you need to have a reservoir higher in elevation than the fire hydrants that has water in it, right? And it's releasing water because the gravity does the rest. Most of it comes from the gravity of these reservoirs. So when this reservoir went offline, and then they were using the fire hydrants at lower elevations, there wasn't enough water pressure to get the water up in elevation to the higher areas that were burning down.
Gross mismanagement. This is probably the most damning thing. It feels almost nefarious, right? Like, you just don't feel a reservoir knowing that you live in the worst fire danger zone, I think, in the world at this point. How many times have we seen these zip codes always go up flames for one reason or another? Right? Remember the rolling brownouts just so they wouldn't catch on fire? And I have a feeling that people noticed this before, right? I mean, where they look going to their superior saying, hey, the world is on fire, quote unquote.
There's never a good time to shut down a reservoir for repairs. It's never a good time. And chances are, no matter when they took it offline, they were going to be at risk of some kind of fires. Unless they did it in the rainy season. But then you say, well, maybe you can't do that because you need it to be relatively dry to do the work. I'm not an expert. There's never a good time to take vital infrastructure offline. Right. If you can avoid it, you can avoid it, right? The problem is that California voters, years ago, I think 7 years ago, voted to set aside billions of dollars to build new reservoirs.
No.
And Newsom and his ilk haven't built a single one.
How long haven't built a single one? Money?
7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money and a lot of wasted time. Where'd the money go?
Well, so if I had to guess, one of the reasons that they didn't go forward with this project was because they were worried about the environmental impact of rerouting water. Because, listen, if you only have so many rivers and you need some rivers to fill a new reservoir, that's going to inevitably result in downstream getting less water, right? And you say, oh, well, there's a rare fish downstream. We're not sure if its eggs will survive if there's less water. Those are legitimate things. Like, you might actually do that. That might actually cause the damage. Now, obviously, you look at this would you rather the fish struggle for a little while to fill the reservoir versus all these houses burning down? Obviously, you don't want that.
No.
But if I had to guess, they've spent a lot of money on environmental impact studies.
My God, but they've got billions in 7 years, man. You don't think they might be able to sneak one little reservoir in somewhere? Because we know they just don't want to do it, right? I mean, they just sit on. I was looking at a map. The Great Chicago Fire was tiny compared to this.
Yeah.
And that was considered the worst fire disaster in U.S. history.
Yeah, this takes the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reservoirs are empty. They've got money to build new ones. Newsom is... All right, so is that why everybody's calling for Newsom's head? I mean, they want him to resign right now. They're coming after him in the media. Is it time for him to go? I mean, is this on his hands?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100% it's time for him to go. He won't.
No.
He's too proud. Did you see him with Biden today?
On the misinformation
Yeah.
thing that he's complaining about. People are too busy talking about the things that are happening, and they're calling it misinformation. That thing.
Let me download the video.
Wow.
They were on a Zoom meeting
Yeah.
he was on a Zoom meeting with Biden.
Yeah.
And saying that he wants Biden to prioritize going after the misinformation. Let me go and add this video right now.
That rings
Here
hollow
is
right now.
the clip.
I ask you, we've got to deal with this misinformation. There were hurricane force winds of mis and disinformation lies.
Hurricane force.
People want to divide this country, and we're going to have to address that as well. And it breaks my heart as people are suffering and struggling that we're up against those hurricane forces as well. And that's just a point of personal privilege that I share that with you because it infects real people that are out there, people I meet every single day, people the mayor's been meeting with, and they're having conversations that are not the typical conversations you'd have at this time. And you wonder where this stuff comes from. And it's very damaging as well. But we're here to get the job done.
Unreal.
So, if we're going to battle misinformation, did you see yesterday Newsom was confronted by a reporter? And in running away from the reporter, he claimed to be on the phone with Joe Biden. The reporter, that's why I can't talk to him, I'm on the phone with Joe Biden. The reporter then called his bluff and said, hey, well, if you're on the phone, let me listen in. Let me hear what Biden's saying. That's newsworthy, right?
Yeah.
And then Newsom was forced to admit, oh, well, I'm not on the phone. It didn't get connected. So we're talking about the misinformation. He's actively lying to the media. Here we go.
You got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I
can't- it
don't
doesn't-
believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the
Why
call.
is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So
There's
let's
no
get
cell
it.
service.
Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing
my
that right
gosh,
now.
this-
And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance.
So this is too cringeworthy. In terms of misinformation, he just lied to her. I can't talk to you right now. I'm on the phone with the president. Oh, can I listen? Actually, when I said I'm on the phone with him, I'm not. And I can't because there's no cell service. And she said, why isn't the president taking your calls? Because the president's a vegetable.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Do you want to listen a little bit more? It gets
Yes,
worse.
I do.
All right, here we
She's
go.
so desperate.
Oh, and legitimately so.
So yeah,
There-
I mean, oh my God.
And where's his mask? Where's his mask?
Actually, I probably would wear one out there with all that smoke. and
Yeah,
stuff.
with all the
I
smoke.
would genuinely wear one because
Have
Man,
you
that
heard
sucks.
that there's a flu? I
Which
thought
one?
they had
The
mask
super flu?
mandates. I thought
Oh,
they had
in
mask
California?
mandates again. I thought they were bringing them back.
The H1N50 or whatever it is now.
Yeah.
The word. Yeah.
No, but with that much soot, I would wear a mask. I'd wear a
totally.
respirator, 100%.
Like even
100%.
eye protection, man, because it's
Yeah.
nasty.
Well, no, he's
right?
got those aviators, baby. He's got the Joe Biden aviators. Those will keep him safe. And actually, his hair gel in his hair is
Yeah.
specifically designed to trap particulates.
It's really nice.
So,
and it doesn't
yeah.
move in the wind, right?
No.
It's really crazy. So, wow, he's so full of shit here.
Here's let's listen to a little bit more. It's so cringe.
I'll be I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids. Losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild. We're getting
Why
the
was there no
resources to do
water
it.
in the hydrants,
That's
Governor?
all being, that's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to
Right.
be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
To
everything
fill the
I can.
hydrants. I would fill them up personally, you know that.
I literally have.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can right now, including making sure people
I'd
are
like
safe.
to make sure you do.
guys.
Can I
He needs
can
to
I have
call
an
the president.
opportunity
He
to at
needs
least
to-
tell
he needs to
people
call
you're
the
doing what
president.
you're saying you're doing?
Thank you.
Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact
yes.
information?
Right
Right
there.
now. Right now.
This woman deserves an Emmy for this.
Yeah.
I mean, she was getting real news here, and she's
Yeah.
devastated. And
Yeah.
what does he give her? Oh my God, it's pure
Nothing.
human blather. It's garbage.
I'm on the phone with the president. Are you? Oh, actually, no, I'm not. I just lied to your face because I don't have service. Oh, can I come with you? Oh, no, I gotta go. Gotta go. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
It is.
But we were on with Madison. Madison's in the comment section. Welcome, Madison. We mentioned it when she was on Wednesday. This is the consequence. They elected Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom will never be a wartime governor. He will never be a crisis governor, right? In moments of crisis, you reveal who you truly are. Reveal who you truly are. And this is one of the biggest moments for him. I mean, they've had other fires, they've had other things, right? And the media's covered it for him. But you can't cover this up. Because you don't have to be an expert in like water sanitation, water treatment to understand something really had to get effed up for them to hook up to a fire hydrant and for there to be no water, right? I mean, because that's supposed to be the ultimate truth. There's water in the hydrants. And we live our lives believing that, God forbid something happens, there'll be water in the hydrants.
Unbelievable.
And how long has there not been water in the fire hydrants? I mean, that's the question. Like,
Yeah.
like how long has this been a vulnerability? It's terrifying.
I just want to mention one thing is that the Dems had eyes on Gavin Newsom to run for president in maybe 4 years.
Oh, that's done.
So-
He's done.
Like it's over, right? Because
Over.
you just saw what he was capable of doing in an emergency. He's governor, right? Governors have far more power than the president does, especially over of a state. So, like the mismanagement, the bad timing, the nefarious feeling, that all falls now on him and the Democratic Party, man. Because this is what all those years of
Yeah.
mismanagement and elections have gotten them. Is just a burning city with no water in the
No water.
reservoirs. And they didn't waste a moment they didn't waste a crisis, right? They used that opportunity to still try to go after misinformation as he's actively lying to a constituent, right? Like, yeah, he's toast. I don't know what he's going to do next. How does he survive re-election?
I don't know. And they've also done things in California, which is to make it harder for insurance companies to exist, right? The regulations
God.
have made insurance so difficult, so expensive. A lot of insurance companies are fleeing the state. Like State Farm is done. They're leaving.
So are those folks covered right now? Does anybody know that? Or
So State Farm, I'm seeing one headline that they canceled 70% of Palisades properties. They had canceled them. This might be a worst case scenario, perfect storm situation where not only did the state mismanage water resources so that firefighters couldn't take care of anything, but the state also seems to have forced out insurance companies, and God forbid these reports are true, that there were a lot of people at the turnover of the year losing insurance if there were gaps there. Most people think, okay, you know what, 10 days, I can make a 10-day gap or 15-day gap, or maybe I sign up, my insurance starts at the start of next month. God forbid there were gaps for some of these people. They lose everything.
yeah, and just because you live in Hollywood like that doesn't mean you're not living paycheck to paycheck too.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's not forget
Absolutely.
that. They just make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And those stars who are, old school stars who are living in the area, they're just not going to get that back, right? Like all that wealth that people have tied into their homes. That's the one place we know where we can put money and that we hope we can make money back, right? And they just watched it all go up into flames, and government has forced insurances out. Like,
Yeah.
it's not. Is it a perfect storm, or is it more like is this just what Democrats do?
It's what Democrats do, and we're again being met with a similar situation of demanding the people evacuate, right? And then similar to Malibu, Similar to Hawaii, they're being told you're not allowed in yet. It's a very weird situation where homeowners aren't allowed to see what they lost, but the media is. At least in Hawaii, they also kept the media out. I don't think that was right. They should let everyone in. But it's very weird that there are reporters able to walk on people's property, but the owners aren't allowed to yet. So even in areas that haven't burned down, if they're still in a risk zone, people are being forced out. So what's happening is the looters are coming in. The looters who don't obey the law, who don't follow the law, are coming in, and in this vacuum where all the police and fire are handling other things in other places, they're coming in and they're looting multi-million-dollar homes, ransacking them. It's just, it's insane. So we all remember the pictures of the rooftop Koreans.
Yeah.
I mean, these were people during the riots in California, Korean business owners would literally go onto their roofs with AR-15s. That one looks like a Galil.
Yeah, like that's the most American picture you can imagine, right? Like this is what America is.
Yeah, that one looks like it's a Galil because it's using AR mags. Anyway, they would go on their roof and they would defend their businesses against looters. They're not even being allowed to do that, so they're being forced out. The looters are coming in, and so the people who haven't lost everything are still losing everything.
Yeah. Again, how much wealth do you think people have tied up in their homes? And those folks in those areas probably have cars, right? Like this is one of probably one of the wealthiest zip codes in California, right? I mean, it's got to be up there. And there's so much. It's like the perfect target for looters, and then not let them back in. It stinks of like Hawaii, right? It also stinks like what the Carolinas when all that stuff went down, right? The government doesn't let anybody back in, and the question is why. That's happened 3 times now. You know, once is a coincidence, twice is like, okay, that's weird, and third time something's going on. So I can't trust government. They couldn't even be trusted to put water in the fire hydrants. How can we trust them to be honest about what they're doing?
We're also coming into it. You're realizing that disaster response is nakedly political. In North Carolina, they offered people $700 a person.
That's right.
And many people were denied. Because they apparently didn't qualify because they had something covered under insurance. You also had FEMA workers deliberately, and this is 100% proven, FEMA workers being told by their superiors not to go onto any property with a Donald Trump sign or flag to tell them they're eligible for FEMA assistance. Mm-hmm. Now, on the flip side, you have the Biden administration now promising, let me see if I can get this on the screen, promising that they're going to 100% cover the costs of the fire recovery. 100%. Now, this is, you want people to be made whole.
Yeah.
But California will never take the steps it needs to take to protect itself if it's able to say, oh, well, even if something bad does happen, don't worry, every other state's going to bail us out.
Yeah.
That's what they do every time they have a wildfire. They claim they don't have the money to go in and clear the underbrush, the deadfall of these trees and these forests that build up. I don't know if you've seen the videos of some of these forests, Josh, but they have deadfall. They have trees, leaves, brush, pine needles up so high you can't even walk.
Sounds like they're just stacking up tinder.
Yeah, and so why aren't there programs? Why aren't
forest management?
Kamala Harris, infamously, her office said we can't release the prisoners on time because we need their free labor. Why aren't there prisoners clearing the underbrush? Why aren't the environmental sciences majors in local colleges being forced to do, or not forced, but strongly encouraged, hey, get out there? Why aren't high school kids, even middle schoolers, going out on field trips and cleaning up a little bit? If you had started that program 7 years ago when you knew there was a problem, 10 years ago when you knew there was a problem, it would have been, trees keep dying, right? You have to continually do it. But the deadfall has reached such high levels because they haven't ever cleared it all out.
Hold on. You said California had $7 billion to build reservoirs. As you're building that reservoir, you can't just clear out some of the area into the reservoir, maybe getting rid of some of those trees. You can't find fungible money to make those sort of things happen simultaneously. I mean, that's just basic forest management. in California is a tinderbox that requires a significant amount of management. So where is that office? Where is that group? Where is that government body that says we're going to actually clear that stuff? Because I got a feeling the fire people are saying that's not our job, right? That belongs to the Forestry Service. And the Forestry Service says we're not here to do that.
Here's the problem. So this bond that was approved in Prop 1 back in 2014. The bond that was approved, let me see if I can zoom in so you can see it. While it did have 7.5 some odd billion, right? Flood management, some was for water recycling, climate and drought preparedness, all good things. Clean, safe, reliable drinking water, that's great. This one's groundwater sustainability, reallocated to so it was reallocated. Statewide water system operational improvement, drought preparedness, 2.7 billion. That's great. Well, what did it also do? It also set aside 1.5 billion for protecting the rivers, streams, coastal waters, and watersheds, which is a guarantee that if you want to build anything, it's going to get caught up in environmental review.
Absolutely.
Right? So for every $2 that they wanted to spend on building reservoirs, they spent $1 on environmental people to stop it. I mean, that to me is madness. Right?
That sounds
it's a tug of war. It's a tug of war, right? They're not obviously working together, because you're like, well, why don't they build the reservoir there? Because that means you have to cut down the trees, which means the groundhogs don't have a home and the birds don't have a home, it's terrible, right? At some point you can't keep doing it, but there's nowhere you can build a reservoir and not either force people out of their homes or force the critters out of their homes. There's not like an empty lake just sitting around waiting to be filled.
Sure.
That's a huge part of the problem of this. This money was set aside, and while they set aside a lot of money, billions, to do it, they also set aside 1.5 billion to stop it, to protect the rivers and streams and watershed.
So it was only like a net of 500 mil that they actually got to do it, right? And I wonder how much of that was spent on overtime pay for everybody. Those higher ups.
You know what's been really? Let me see if I can find the Malibu, the fire in Malibu. Have you seen these pictures?
Oh, I've been looking at a lot of these, and they're like hellscapes half the time. I mean, this is a mind blowing event. I mean, it's going to be remembered as the Great Fire of California. I mean,
look at that.
It's insane.
Now, do you know what that area essentially is? That's where the show 2.5 Men was supposedly taking place.
No.
Not that exact road, but Malibu.
Sure.
Beachfront Malibu.
Yeah.
Right? That was the scene. So those really expensive houses, that was where that series was kind of set. And you look at that and it's just all gone. It's to me, it's just mind-boggling. I know that there are logistical problems of fighting fires with seawater. I get it. It corrodes equipment. I get it. But to see the water literally right there and it all burns down, I can't help but wonder, why wouldn't a house have like an inline pump on their property and a large hole that could get rolled out to the ocean in emergencies?
Yeah.
And at the very least be used to pump water, right? I mean, it just seems like so common sense. I get it. It's not that easy. I have saltwater fish tanks. It does a terrible number on equipment. But it feels like it's obvious this was preventable. But to see the water that close and be told, oh, we're out of water. We're out of water.
I know.
It doesn't pass the smell test. It doesn't pass the, are you shitting me? Like, what are you talking about? You're out of water. Wow. I get it. You're out of water up high at high elevations. Why are you out of water at sea level?
Yeah. I mean, just pump the damn water.
Yeah.
Be damned with the equipment that's going to break. The equipment was made for this moment.
That's
why you make that equipment.
That woman asked Newsom, why don't you just pump the water?
Yeah.
Like, there's water coming out right there. Why don't you take that, put that in trucks and move it to wherever you need it? He said, yeah, we should. Why don't you do it? I will. Okay, do it. Nah, not me. I get the governor's not going to be in the bucket brigade. I get that. but no one is, right? And it's so maddening. And this is why the question is, can America survive the next 10 days? If you asked me a week ago, would LA still be there in time for Trump's inauguration? I said, of course. Of course. But you just see what happens when you have a president completely checked out.
Oh my gosh.
When you have shit leadership at the state level. When you have a mayor overseas. Why does a mayor need to be overseas?
At
like-
just the right time.
Like, how does that help the people of LA? Spoiler, it doesn't.
It does. I was just sitting here thinking, I was like, there's been some really, really high up affluency areas that have been hit by the disaster. Hawaii fires and this fire, man. And I don't know, it just rings of, I know we say that it's mismanagement, but man, this feels like just gross negligence to the
Yeah.
point of ludicrous, right? It almost makes you want to think it's nefarious. You can't.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time separating the two. I mean, this feels like a setup of California. Have you seen the
We have breaking news. Breaking news.
what?
Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has just launched an independent investigation into why there was no water. So don't worry, he's going to create a committee, and that committee is going to get paid, and that committee will work for the next 8 months. And don't worry, that committee may have an answer. Don't worry. He sent a letter that there will be a committee.
Oh my God. He has just shown that he has complete hatred for the people of California. Like, he's just trying to cover his ass from that video. He's toast. Like, there's nothing left for him politically now. You've seen what you paid for when you voted in California. And I feel bad for you guys because, you really want your governor to be out there, like, if he had to be, directing traffic with stop signs, if he had to, right? That's
Yeah.
the kind of governor you want,
Yeah.
Or at least handing out food and water, bringing in...
Not Gavin Newsom.
emergencies.
He will only get out and join the Buck Brigade if the fire reaches the French Laundry. Remember that restaurant where he was eating during COVID?
No.
Remember?
Oh, we
Everyone was
covered
locked
that.
down.
We did.
Yeah. And that's his favorite restaurant. That's the only thing he cares about. French Laundry.
Oh, watch there be working fire.
Oh no!
Engines right next
Oh,
to that.
they have that for sure. You see what Elon Musk said? Elon Musk said, if you have nothing else, use wet sand. Put wet sand on countertops and things like that. Stop the burning. He's telling people to build a heat shield.
Yeah, essentially.
The Rocket Man
Like,
is
imagine
telling
owning
people
all
to
that
build a heat
stuff
shield on your homes.
and just having people weren't even turning on their own spigots, were they? I mean, I don't think that people are even trying to use their own hoses, were they?
They're forced out. And here's the other thing. Did you see that the LA emergency broadcast system sent a text to everyone in LA saying to evacuate? Everyone. Accidentally. And then they asked the mayor's office, why did you do that? They said, we don't control it. Well, who controls it?
I know. Oh my God.
Yeah. And the other problem is, like, they do this so often, like, hey, there's wildfires, everyone run away. It kind of is like how in Florida, they tell everyone, there's going to be a hurricane, better evacuate. And then people have to stop and say, okay, well, how bad is the hurricane really going to be? It's category 1, I can ride this out. 2, 3, I can ride this out. 4, nuh-uh, I'm going to leave.
How many people was that in LA that got it
Yeah.
at the same time?
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone.
could you imagine the highway? What that
Yeah.
must have looked like? Or
I
the stores?
think they fixed it before
Well, the damage is done. Like,
damage is
what if that's
done.
the only
Like
one you
everyone
saw?
didn't get on the highway, but everyone. Like here is a
That's
here.
just
Let
insane.
me download this. This is
just
a weatherman doing the weather, talking about the fires, and he gets a notification to evacuate. Here is the video.
Out here are under mandatory evacuations, and obviously you can hear all of our phones are going off some type of alert. An evacuation warning, it looks like.
Yeah, my alert reads,
Yeah.
This is an emergency message from the LA County Fire Department. An evacuation warning has been issued in your area.
Yeah.
Remain
This is what this looks like.
vigilant of any threats and be ready to evacuate. Gather loved ones, pets, and supplies. Continue to monitor local weather news and the webpage alertla.org for more information.
Yeah.
So they accidentally told everyone in LA that there were fires in their area. Now, there are a lot of fires, but not everywhere. They can't even get that right.
Did they though, or were they testing the system? I mean, did they really want to see everybody in LA try to evacuate at the same time? Are you telling me there's a mistake sending everybody should evacuate? Does anybody know how to run the system that's behind it? Like
They're saying that they don't know how to run the system.
that's bullshit. I don't believe that for a second. Why are they sending out a message like that?
Again, I mentioned this with Madison. Is it evil, or are these people just
that's
idiots?
just that
They might
stupid.
just be idiots. It might just be idiots, Josh. And usually you can have a couple of idiots, and there's going to be someone who has a head on their shoulders, and they can at least figure it out, right? But when you have idiots at every single level, idiots who have gotten promoted to higher levels, right? And there's idiots all throughout. I mean, this is what you get. This is what you get.
I know, it just feels like everybody's doomed. I mean, everybody in California government is just stupid. Or just complete idiots, or
Just
DEI
wait.
hires. I don't know.
Just wait. I also do you see that the three highest ranking fire officials in LA are all lesbians? Do you see that?
No.
Now, I'm not saying that there aren't lesbian firefighters. There are.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're
I don't care.
very
Just carry me
qualified.
out.
But do you know the odds of the three highest ranking firefighters, fire chiefs, organically reaching that position and happening to be lesbian? Those are astronomical odds.
Hey, it's LA.
Yeah, it's still astronomical.
LA.
Still
It's
astronomical.
LA.
Because
It's
because those positions are for the careerists, the people who've been in for 20, 30 years. So it's not what is LA like now, it's what was LA like 30 years ago. Right? So the odds of that naturally happening are insane. No, there are people who jump the line. They jump the line of succession.
Hey, at
just like
least
we
their
watched that
department-
video where their top priority was diversity.
I was just going to say, at least their department was diverse, right?
It's not. It's all lesbians.
accomplished, Right?
It's not diverse.
I don't know. I saw some video out there when the lady said, someone said that you shouldn't have been in the fire in the first place. And I couldn't tell if it was a fake video or not, so I didn't grab it, because there's no way these same stupid people could be saying stupid stuff in social media. You know? There's just no way. It feels strange, man. It does. It feels like a setup sometimes. You're sitting there and you're looking at this and you're like, are they that stupid? God, if they are that stupid, we're all doomed. But, you can hide gross negligence in stupid. You know? Or maybe even nefarity inside gross negligence is what I'm trying to say, right? It's not real. It doesn't feel real.
This is where I want to transition to. We're 10 days away. We're 10 days away from Trump in the inauguration. And you realize that the ineptitude is not limited to the fire department.
Really?
What's another emergency kind of first responder organization that may or may not have dropped the ball on an assassination attempt?
What?
Secret Service. Secret
What?
Service, we still don't know what the Secret Service did wrong when Donald Trump took a bullet. That report still isn't out. They haven't made any changes that we know of. Donald Trump has to stand on the steps of the Capitol in 10 days. He has to put his hand on the Bible, the other hand up. He has to take the oath of office, and he has to trust that the Biden administration and their control of the Secret Service will protect him. That the Capitol Police, who have spent the past 4 years trying to help lock up as many January 6ers as possible,
Yeah.
right? That the National Guard, where they have purged Trump loyalists and elevated the pink hairs, that they're going to keep him safe. I am getting more and more nervous because do I think that Donald Trump can fix these problems? Absolutely. Can't do it until he puts his hand on the Bible, says the oath of office, so help me God.
Max,
Until then,
wow.
he is subject to everything.
And what a stage to set something like that up. Like, who would not be watching that moment? I guarantee you the world networks will be covering that moment. And you're raising the question, is he going to be safe when that happens? You know what I mean? That's mind-boggling to me.
I don't think he will ever be safe. Until they fix these things, I don't think he will ever be safe. They let a kid right out of college get on a roof with an eye line to Trump carrying a rifle. I mean, like...
They were thwarted by miscommunication.
I like to believe that the rank and file are good. I don't trust them until I know that what went wrong has been fixed. And like we've talked a lot about drones here. They're going to try and jam drones. I'm sure of it. But you pack a little bit of explosives into a drone, you can fly those suckers really fast. Right? So, like, he is going to be out in the open for an hour or so. I wouldn't be surprised if the minute he takes that oath of office, he's out. He's not staying around for the pomp and circumstance. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get out of the beast, the car, to walk. Last time he got out of the beast and walked a little bit with Melania. I'm sure he's going to probably want to again. I'd like to think that the people around him will say, boss, let's think about this.
Yeah. You
10
paid
days.
me to protect you.
10 days.
Yeah, look, you've got... I mean, talk about a moment that would be set up for it, too. You just made me go into a level of paranoia that wasn't there this morning when I got up and is going to stay there for the next 10 days.
I know.
Right?
It's inescapable. And I was at the inauguration in 2016. I'm not going this year.
Yeah.
But I was there. I had a nice little seat with my dad and my wife, and my mom was there. My sister was there. We had seats, so like we weren't like the standing people. We actually had chairs.
Nice.
And at no point did I feel unsafe. Even as the leftists were rioting, and you could smell the smoke from them burning trash cans and burning cars, I never felt unsafe because of the amount of security we went through. I had to get up at like 5 a.m. to get there. I don't feel that way this time. And I don't know if that's just worst case scenario thinking. I don't know if that's just me, the doom and gloom part of this, but I'm genuinely nervous for this man.
Yeah.
Can he fix it? He can fix it. But you need to survive to fix it. And that's the terrifying part. The only thing that I think is even remotely good to know is that Joe Biden will be sitting right next to Trump. He says he's going to be there and attend the transfer of power. If Joe Biden had pieced out and said I wasn't going, then I'd be really nervous, right?
Sure.
That's the only silver lining, that maybe they don't want to protect Trump, but they definitely want to protect him and want to protect Queen Kamala.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That really just... It reminds me of a scene. It was in 300 when Leonidas was going there, and they're like, "I'm gonna go visit with the dude, and if they kill me, then that'll be a good thing because they will rise an army up like they've never seen before." Right? Essentially, all of Sparta would go and attack him. Right? I mean, if that was to happen now, we worry for him, but that probably would be the last straw, at least culturally for a lot of people and for the direction of the United States.
Yeah.
That would cause something that would be, oh my gosh, they would just have deep ripples inside of people who would want to make real change, right? Like that would be it'd probably be the end of the Republic as we understand it that day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would be very bad. It would be, I don't even want to think about it. I'm thinking about when I got that call from you originally that Donald Trump had been shot. You were texting me. I was wearing VR goggles, doing some work on some. I like to type in VR. It's cool, but I haven't gotten into VR a lot since, just because of how terrifying that was to finally look down at my phone, see it, and be like, oh shit, I don't want to immerse myself in that and miss catastrophic news outside. Now I've got, the more I talk about this, the more nervous I'm getting. 10 days.
Yeah.
We got to survive 10 days. The country has to survive 10 days. Donald Trump needs to survive 10 days. And then we take the fight to them. I don't know if you saw Trump's lawyer today. Did you see what Trump's lawyer said?
No.
Trump's lawyer had some choice words for Judge Merchan because Trump was just convicted, just sentenced today. We didn't even get into that, but it's the unconditional discharge, no prison, no fine. That's the funny bit. If he was actually guilty, they could have fined him without threatening his presidential abilities, right?
Yeah.
The no fine is kind of like they know it's bullshit.
Yeah.
He'll still be able to vote because Florida has a law that says you can vote if you're a felon if you have completed your sentence. Unconditional discharge, there is no sentence. Trump still has voting rights, but he no longer has gun rights.
Yeah, right.
Gone. No longer has the ability to personally defend himself with a firearm. Probably the one person on earth who has the most threats against him is now being told you have no right to have a firearm on your bedside table. A handgun in your safe by your bed to protect yourself. You have no right. Because they made up some bullshit in New York.
You can tell just how corrupt a government is when they have tons of laws that remove you from your right to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And like that's the number one thing that God intends for us to do, right? Protect ourselves, feed our families, have roofs over our heads, right? Pray for food, pray for shelter, and pray to see the lies, right? And
Yeah.
man, boy, how many lies were there spun since 2020? That's all culminating to this moment, right? I mean, this is like a pivotal moment in American history. And it's all up in flames on the coasts before it happens. You know, Joe Biden tried to pick a fight for World War III, probably still is.
Oh, it still is.
As this is
Still
going
is.
on. You know what I mean?
I think what's really frightening, and I hope that Donald Trump getting into office, I hope that he and his administration look at what happened in LA and check to see if any other major cities have vulnerabilities, right? Because I guarantee you, LA is not the only place that if they had significant fires, there'd be no water in the hydrants. I bet you there are other cities, and I bet you it all stems from the environmental bullshit of we need to cut back on water, right? All that bullshit. I think you'd be shocked to learn just how many cities are this vulnerable. Los Angeles is the 22nd largest city on Earth, and there's no water in the fire hydrants, right? If they can't get their shit together, how many other cities and states do you think are vulnerable? The kind of thing you don't want to know.
Hey, you've almost described a conspiracy. Because if this is happening in multiple places and they're all areas where they need water, where they know fire is a problem historically, then you start raising some red flags. Like,
but it's not a
involved?
conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy if they're all just dumbasses, right? I mean, like that's not a conspiracy.
I know. I just don't. People aren't that stupid though. And maybe Democrats are.
They are that stupid. They are that stupid to say, "Oh, environmental protection is more important than having full reservoirs or building an extra reservoir." That's 100%. Like that was some of the earliest environmental activism. We need to build a dam. Oh, but what about the bunnies?
Right.
The bunnies and the squirrels. That was early environmental activism. So I think you'd be surprised at how vulnerable. I wouldn't be surprised if New York City was vulnerable.
Could you imagine? Like, shh! Don't tell anybody.
I'm not telling anybody. No, I'm just saying. In
know.
a situation like the Chicago fire, if that was to happen today, I don't think our infrastructure could survive it.
Hey, it did happen today. It's like 4 or 5 times bigger than the Chicago fire.
No, but in like an actual urban environment. I'm not talking about
could you
like
imagine?
Palisades of like Malibu. I'm
you
talking about like
imagine Manhattan
actual
or
city
something?
blocks like Queens, the Bronx, Brooklyn.
Oh my God, there would be.
If you had entire blocks go up, I don't know if they could stop it.
Oh my God, not even. Yeah, I know. Hopefully, there's a bunch of boaters, or at least those. You've seen all those crazy water ships they have out off the coast when they do baseball games. I bet you Citizens would probably end up saving New York.
Maybe.
We've seen them do it before.
Maybe. The other issue is, I don't know if you saw in New York, they now have surge pricing. Have you seen that?
Oh my gosh, I know. We talked about that the other day.
So
and that's the most dystopian thing ever.
So I don't know if we covered it, but one of the problems with surge pricing is that the fire department was having all of their people. Did I play that clip for you?
No.
The fire department, I won't be able to find it now, but the fire department had all of their people driving into work to bring their gear with them. So you store a lot of gear at home because when you're on call, right? You they might say, "Hey, meet us at the fire," and they'll drive in, right? Because most firefighters don't actually live in Manhattan. They're on Staten Island or Long Island with their families because they want to have a house with a yard, right? They don't want a 1-bedroom apartment that costs $3,000 a month. So the surge pricing doesn't exempt the firefighters. So the city is actually telling the firefighters, "We want you on the subway."
No.
And that's what the surge pricing is about. Don't drive in the city. Use public transportation. And the firefighters are like, what? So they just dropped it on them. So now, I mean, that's another thing. How vulnerable would you be in that situation? Firefighters now have to pay $9 extra just to enter in Manhattan. They do it in an emergency, but their whole job is emergencies.
Do Democrats run New York?
Yes.
Oh.
Forever.
Oh. Well, that kind of answered itself there, buddy. I mean, we all know, right? What about New Jersey? Is it run by Democrats?
Yeah, but it's starting to swing. But
Okay,
it's
okay.
Democrats. It's Democrats.
It just makes me worry. Everywhere that there's going to be a Democrat governor, something bad's going to happen. So Colorado's on the list.
Yeah.
You know, are our fire hydrants full?
You have wildfires all the time.
Oh my gosh, it's been kind of a quiet season, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Because once that stuff pops off, it's just a tinder keg. I watched whole sections near Colorado Springs go up into flames a couple years ago. It's still recovering, right?
Yeah,
Imagine
I remember,
the downtime that LA is going to have. I mean, does that affect the movie industry, right? Because all those people that lived there, I mean, what's all been lost? That'll be the other thing is what's gone right now. We don't even know what survived.
General Hospital stopped filming, which, I mean, General Hospital filming is like it's like the Waffle House. How significant of an emergency is it? Was the Waffle House open? If the Waffle House is closed, it's probably a doozy. General Hospital stopped filming.
Wow. Yeah,
And then-
Hollywood could be devastated.
And then look at this. Let me put this on the screen. Joe Biden's approval rating is the lowest now it has ever been. Average approval rating. The average of the polls. He's had single one-offs that have been below 30. But the average now, 36.2, is the lowest average he's had. I think this is 538. Yeah.
Are you shocked? I mean, we shouldn't.
No.
But here's
No.
the kicker: is in the last election, Democrats won California handily.
Yeah.
You know, same in all these places where this stuff happens, and it's got to be a wake-up call at this point that liberalism equals mismanagement of everything.
You get what you get. I don't know if you've listened to who's the guy who used to be on the Man Show. Not Jimmy Kimmel, the other one.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Oh, he's a comedian.
Adam Carolla.
Yes.
Did you see his rant?
No.
So what he's predicting is, take this off the screen. He's predicting that all of these liberals, because this is one of the most liberal areas of the country, the Hollywood Hills, Malibu, right? These are wealthy political leftist mega donors. They're now going to go through the process of trying to pull permits to rebuild their house.
Oh.
And they're going to go against the 26-year-old blue hair leftists on the Coastal Commission, telling them what they can and cannot do to rebuild their beachfront house. And they are going to go years without permission to build.
Yeah.
And this is going to turn them into not conservatives, but Republican voters.
Yeah.
They're gonna experience the consequence of electing people into office. Because before you say, "Oh, the Coastal Commission, what does that matter? I already built my house. I want nice coastlines." they're going to realize the codes and the regulations have changed so much that they probably won't be allowed to rebuild what they just lost.
And imagine, like, some of those homes were almost like historical homes at some point.
Yeah.
They're pretty old Hollywood homes, and they were built in ways that I'm sure didn't meet the California Environmental Code. It can never be the same again. And you're right, there's going to be this crazy battle about what you can and cannot do. And, man, that's going to change the way money gets handed off to political people. You know what I mean? It's going to change races.
Remember Baywatch? Baywatch was set in partially set in Malibu. Like, these are historic homes that have, I mean, it's not a skyline, but it might as well have been for how much it's been used in pop culture.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to really struggle to get these houses rebuilt because the powers that be that they funded and they elected are going to now do everything in their power to stop them from rebuilding their lives. It's going to make them crazy. It's going to make them insane. They're probably going to vote Republicans into power. Or they're just going to go down the death spiral and say, let's run it back. Wow. I guess they might do that too. Give you the final word as we wrap this up.
Man, fire. You know, actually just have water, have some food, have something ready to go, because you never know when you're going to get hit with a wildfire that is a record disaster in your area, right? It's not the end of the world for everybody, but in things like this, it's the end of the world for you.
What I did is we have a lot of our personal documents in a safe. I've now put those personal documents in a bag, and we're going to have a go bag in the safe so that the things that we're going to need to grab and take with us are going to be in the bag. That way we would never have to run around and grab things, but that would still be catastrophic. I'm looking around my house like, what would I grab in an emergency? And what would I be willing to lose? I have like a $2,000 PC right here that I'm streaming on. I don't want to lose that, but you can't carry everything. So make a go bag. Be prepared to leave if you had to in a situation like this. And for the love of God, make sure you have insurance. Renter's insurance, especially if you're a renter. Get the renter's insurance. Get the coverage. It's like $12 to $18 a month.
Right.
I had a fire when I was a renter. They covered like over $100,000 of things that we lost. Like they laundered all of our clothes. It was wonderful. So if you don't already have insurance, make sure you have enough coverage. And that's all I got. If you like the podcast, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, give us a follow. We're on X, we're on Rumble, we're on YouTube, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tune in for that. We also have the audio edition of the podcast. I'm one episode behind on that. I got to upload it when I get off now, but tune in for that. We try and make these as audio friendly as possible. That's it for this edition. My name is Max McGuire.
I'm Josh Hammerling.
Remember, the fight to take back our country is not over yet, but the only way we win is if we all stand and fight together. See you next time.
See ya.